committee.
The committee put their heads together and they start their own thing.
Hey y'all, it's Izzy Harrison and you're tapping in with the committee.
What's up guys, this is Azari Stevens and you're tapping in with the committee.
Big shout out to the committee. Y'all hold it down for us.
Shout out to the committee. Come on, rocking with the committee. The committee. We committee.
Some people ain't gonna like it, and some people will.
Hello. That intro will get me every time.
I'm sorry, the we committee is never not going to make me laugh.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the committee post-game show. It's been chaotic. It's been a day. We're gonna start off with Indiana and Stanford. Indiana.
Fighting pixie cuts. Let's go. They're bad.
You do a whole lot of fighting though. That's the problem.
There ain't no fight. Just
lay
pixie
down.
cuts.
Cameron Brink got him with a cross uppercut.
Bob better. Bob better.
Wait a minute. It was the pixie cuts versus the Bobs?
Bob better. Come on
red
now.
and
That's the
white
OG
pixie
Bob.
cuts versus the white and red. Or no, I guess that's a different shade of red. But pixie cuts versus Bob's.
Bob's better. Come on now. I told you this was gonna happen before it even happened.
Bob's supremacy is live in effect.
You're damn right. It always is. I saw the Bob earlier today in Norman. Come on now. The Bobs are everywhere. The Bobs are winning today. And they did it off the back of Cameron Brink because she went and showed why she's at the top of these draft boards, probably arguably the best big on the boards, probably not even arguably really at this moment right now. At this very moment, it's not an argument really to be had. Cameron Brink is going to be the first big off the board in the WNBA draft. 20 points, 17 rebounds, 4 blocks. And the biggest thing, come on. Yeah,
How many fouls?
3.
She did not foul.
2 fouls.
Hey,
2 fouls.
Draft her now. Stop everything. Stop the count. Draft her now. That was the missing piece. Can Brink come in a game, take over, and not be her biggest enemy and take herself out of the game? Mm-hmm. So if she's doing all of this with just 2 fouls against Mackenzie Holmes, who a lot of people touted as a top talent.
Yeah.
Double bagels in the first half.
And that's what was crazy to me. It's not what Brink did. It's what she didn't allow Mackenzie Holmes to do. Because Holmes was nowhere to be seen in this game. She finished with 8 points, 2 rebounds.
And 4 fouls.
4 fouls, 3 turnovers. Come on now. Mackenzie was incredible last season. There were people hey, this is your time to go to the W with the draft class. You'll be a top pick. She stays back, and this is the first showing that we get. Not great. And they could have used some amazing grace today. They could have used a lot of things, to be honest. But it was just
tough week for a couple of the bigs picked on the AP's preseason All-American.
Yeah.
Tough week. Woo.
A tough week indeed, because it was not it looked like completely different weight classes, going against each other, and it was 2 different levels today between Brink and Holmes, and these are arguably you saw 2 of the best rated bigs in the entire country. We were expecting this to, on paper, be a punch back, going back and forth, and it could not have been more one-sided.
Stanford played at home, but Indiana was ranked number 9 coming into this game. I think Stanford was ranked 14th. Indiana was never in this game. Never. That's
what's crazy. It's not it's not they pulled away late. No, it was literally at no point. The only point that they had a chance was the start of the first quarter. Anything that got past basically the 9-minute mark in the first quarter, it was wraps, and it was immediate. And I don't know if we overrated the losses that Stanford had, or if we underrated the I don't know what exactly went down here to let this happen.
I was getting ready to ask you that, and I didn't want to phrase it in a way that would prompt that Russell Westbrook response. What are you talking about? Yeah. Did they lose or did they win?
Right. Is Indiana because Indiana didn't look like a top 25.
And that's the thing. I know you lose Grace, right? And amazing Grace is great.
For sure.
But it's
Hey, not Alley Pat Burger Razor. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that too. Let's talk about it too. So I know you lost a couple pieces. I know like Indiana is structured to where they work as a unit. So they're like, ooh, potluck. So like if one person is not like, doing the wave or whatever, like it just kind of falls a little bit. But it's like, should it have been this bad?
Yeah.
Or were we expecting Stanford to take a bigger hit than they did? Because again, losing Haley Jones is that's essential. She is the
and depth
Well,
as well.
yeah,
what they
I think
lost.
that's a really good point because like two players that got a lot of minutes today, and one player showed out, and that's Kiki Rioffin, who's from LA, was a McDonald's All-American, incredibly athletic and young, talented player. Oh, like actually, I think she's a junior now, but a very talented player who was just like, very has been to date very underutilized in Stanford's system, and she I think had 18 points and maybe 7 or 8 rebounds today as well.
Yeah.
So
20 points, 11 rebounds.
Okay, whew. So I mean, Stanford, the amount of athleticism that they have with them too on their front line is like it's considerable. And then another player from Southern California that also, may be looking to have a breakout season, and I believe that she too was a McDonald's All-American and all of those things, is Brooke Demeter. So sniper, it's interesting because does like Fran, Haley, all of that class leaving, does it there's agendas, right? People are trying to go up in the draft.
There's always agendas. If one thing's gonna be true, there's always agendas at play.
Internally, but internally and externally. So maybe they're just at a place where they know it's Cameron's last hurrah. Pretty much said that she's going, and they're ranked 15th coming into the season. Not a ton of expectations, So but you still have to and think of all the players that we've talked about in front of her, right? Juju, Peely, Jalen. Cam's like, hold up,
don't forget about me. Hold on, I'm still hurt. Like, don't get it twisted with just because people left. Like, I'm at the top of these boards for a reason.
You can still see in the little thumbnail, like she knows she's her.
Oh yeah,
that thumbnail is outlandishly. Like she knows she's serving.
That smirk is vicious. Like that is
ridiculous.
Smile. She's from the Tyra Banks School of Modeling. She had it down.
Gotta learn to model through adversity. Go through the screen.
Hey, I'm tall and blonde. This is an adverse life.
According to The Athletic.
Yeah.
Not okay. Well, so yeah, I think kind of right now we're at a point where it's like, I don't know how much to take from this game, honestly, because I don't know, is Stanford way better than we had anticipated? Is Indiana way worse? Like, I think that we'll be able to look back at this game, and once we find out what these teams are, I think we'll be able to go back to this game and realize that this was when we started to find out one way or another. And I just don't know exactly which way that's kind of leaning more towards at this moment, because surely Mackenzie Holmes is going to perform better than this going forward. Like this. Like you don't think that this is the consistency that you're gonna see from Mackenzie Holmes. Like that's just not what we have come to expect from her. But
if nothing else, it's like this is their ceiling and this is their floor.
Yeah.
So whether or not they play, whether or not they level out, like you said, we got to see more games, but we at least know what they're capable of. Both teams are capable of, good, bad, or otherwise.
Right, for sure. And so I'm excited to see. It's an interesting one just because they both are very there's a lot of similarities of last year's teams for both, but also like complete differences for both. Like and it's gonna be really interesting to see how all of that.
One has a really good college player. The other
has a pro.
A
pro.
So I think I'm tempering my expectations for Indiana more than anything. Because for them to be that reliant on Mackenzie, and yes, it's game one. Yes, it's, different look, but you still got to be better. Because again, we're seeing freshmen come out in their first game and show out.
Yeah.
So you have to impose your will. And then if this is the big dog right now, even though it's not in your conference, is not a great look to see in the first showing. So
Sure.
I'm a little, now that we talk about it,
you're like convincing yourself of it.
Yeah.
No, I think the standard has changed.
My obsession on the pixie cuts.
Yeah, no, I think the standard has changed where it's like, whether it's transfers or if it's new players, like people are pretty quickly coming into these new situations and hooping. So it's like, if you're a team, like the Indiana lost big pieces, but a lot of that team is still intact. Like a lot of that team is the same. So if you haven't figured it out, like kind of going into this season and early on, it feels like it could get nasty quick, like just for the tone of the rest of this season for them. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see if this was just a one-off or if they can figure it out and everything. Because it's just, that was bad. Like there's not even like a takeaway from it. There's no like, oh hey, at least no, that was a 2-pack of ass. Like there was, it was really, really, really bad. So I don't know. Do we have anything else on that before we get into?
Oh, it was funny hearing Jalen say like Cam Brink is one of the top trash talkers, and then like
yes, and then visually seeing it.
Yeah, right. I was coming in from the USC game and doing some other stuff, but I caught third quarter at the end when she blocked that shot and started talking. I was like, yeah,
I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, it's there. I found it. Like there's like, I'm so tempted like to put like Jalen's audio over the video of that now. And like just to show,
I told you.
Like, okay, well, if we're good on that one, like I said, I feel like that kind of sums it up. Like it's really good and some really bad in that one, and there's not.
Let's go from bad to worse, shall we?
I don't know.
Worse.
Whoa. No, we're not at worse yet.
We're not.
Hold on,
we're there yet. This is a slow burn, boss lady. If we're gonna be clocked in, we're gonna take our time. You know, we'll really make use of our time here, boss lady. So let's go to South Carolina. Listen, yo. Before Shani, I'm gonna let you kind of take the ISO on this one, but before I'm gonna let you do that, they have now hit 100 points in both of their games against ranked opponents. This was supposed to be the rebuild. This was supposed to be, I don't know about South Carolina. And then they go and win 114-76 against the number 14 team in the nation. You have 7 players in double figures. This is the rebuild? Shani, go ahead. You were there. You had boots on the ground. Take the ISO. Tell us about the environment. Tell us about what you saw today at the game.
I feel like LeBron. I can't believe this is my life. Like this is. It's so. First of all, it rained the other day, so they didn't do the ring ceremony at the football game. They did it at the basketball game, and then they had Tiffany Mitchell's jersey retirement. So it's like it's a really emotional day. You have all the big alumni because like Asia walked by me like in the locker room. I saw her. Tiff Mitchell obviously there. Then you got all the freshies. So you've got like a who's who.
It's South Carolina royalty there. Like it's literally, I tweeted out, it's like every generation of South Carolina basketball since Don was there. Yes. And that was so cool to me to be able to visualize that. Like you have like the OGs that really like set the stage, and then you get the freshies, and they're all cheering on this brand new generation. Cool as hell to me.
And I know Asia tried to keep it cool for so long until Raven hit that 3.
Yeah. Hey, you know who didn't keep it cool? Aaliyah. She was up there on commentary on the sideline. It was funny.
Carolyn Peck and Courtney trying to talk to her. She's like, no, get in the corner. Like, just
good block.
Because I could see her like coming up out of her seat, and I was like, you can't clock in. We will get a technical. I need you.
They had to like cut it short because Aaliyah was like, so
she was like, she cut herself off. She was like, listen, I know I'm not supposed to be biased. Like,
and that's such a wild situation to be in because like 6 months ago you were giving your heart and soul to this team, and now you got to like watch, and it's so crazy because like with the OGs and with your most recent OGs in there, like. These kids rose to the occasion. Absolutely. They could have been nervous. They could have came out shaky, but like they was like, no, we hooping and put up. What was it? 114?
114-76.
That's so crazy to me because they're gonna go for the record. I know they are. And I'm excited to see it. I've said this before, like the unpredictability, because like Maryland is always a good game because it's always a good matchup, right? They always give us their best. We give them our best. And it's all, you have the top players. We saw Angel a couple years ago. We saw Diamond last year. Like, it's a good matchup. So for them to come out and another big game and put on that kind of performance in front of that type of audience, like, I feel so great about this team. I know that anything can happen because they're still young and they might come down, crashing down to earth at some point, but it's just like, to start, I feel really, really good about it. The environment in CLA, what I will say is we packed it out like we usually do, but I need the crowd to be a little more proactive instead of reactive and lead a defense chant. They were talking about we want Joyce. Like, Joyce Edwards, I think, was at the game. It was trickles of we want Joyce in places, but like everybody should have been behind that one.
You've been passing around the collection plate. Is what you should have been doing.
That was on me. I should have we're down a fan. Shout out to Gamecock Jesus. Hope he's getting better. But like we need somebody. No, I'm dead serious. Like he's had health concerns, so he hasn't been in attendance.
Shout out to Gamecock Jesus.
Yeah, so we need energy, before the good plays happen. Like get them hyped. But like again, they didn't need that. They generated their own. They did their own thing. And this team is so exciting. It's just, I can't say enough good things about them in our rebuild year. So
they just kept coming. It was just like waves. It was like, okay, all right, Raven and Pow Pow, they start obviously. Okay, but then I'm bringing Malaysia off the bench. Okay, then I'm bringing Fagan off the bench, Ashlyn off the bench. It's just that they can just hit you in waves, and everybody they can bring off the bench has something to contribute. And they understand how they can contribute, right? Hitting the boards, getting out in transition, and just putting pressure on opposing defenses. So, I'd be like, regardless of what happens this year for them, like really sky's the limit. I think is what it's shown is like
you're kind of staying with house money, like in a way.
Yeah, no other team. Like there's nobody out there who is like, oh, they're the top dogs. That's who I gotta. You know what I mean? That's who has to be beat this year. I think it's anybody's game, and their youth is contributing in a major way right now.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me, like how. Like one of the things I've been most impressed by is it feels like there hasn't ever been a point where like they've really taken their foot off the gas. Like literally we saw Notre Dame game. Like they were like, hey, I'm getting 100. Like I'm taking, you know what I mean? And like, that's so impressive for me to a team that's so mixed in. Like obviously you have some older players like playing major minutes and everything, but this is a team that has nonstop just being on go. Like there hasn't been like, oh, okay, here comes Maryland. They're storming back. Here comes Notre Dame. They're storming back. There hasn't been any of that. Like the consistency that they're already playing with, and kind of how you mentioned, like the understanding of their own roles on an individual level already at this season is so impressive to me. Like for a team that really, like obviously you have those foundational pieces, but it's everyone that's been built around them. It doesn't feel like anyone's being like the glue that's actually holding everything together. It generally just feels like all these pieces just fit. It's not like one person. It's not like, oh, Raven is the one orchestrating everything and doing this and that, and now they're winning because of it. No, it just generally feels like watching this team that every piece, it just meshes exactly the way it's supposed to. And doing that this early against these opponents at this rate, that's incredible to me to be watching that.
Yeah, so the next step to me is like seeing what happens when somebody hits them in the mouth.
For sure.
Maryland was battling in that first quarter and throughout the first half, and then Brenda Freeze after the game was like, we kind of did some things to ourselves. We gave up a ton of and ones. Cheyenne Sellers said the same thing. We made a lot of mistakes that gave them opportunities, and they're a team that does not need opportunities.
For sure.
So that's the next step. I feel like this is really, really, really encouraging moving forward, but we're going to have to see what happens when someone pops them in the mouth and how they respond. But right now, you can't touch us if we up too high. I'm so sorry, family.
Speaking of not being touched, rankings are on the way. And I know that South Carolina fans don't want it, but I find it hard to see how this team at the very moment right now isn't ranked number 1. And I know South Carolina fans don't want it, but with the drop off we've seen at the top, I wasn't convinced by Iowa to put them at number 1.
I might have to do it anyway though, because like I put that meme in the chat of the guy like looking at the buttons, and I'm like, do I make South Carolina 1 because they deserve it, or do I drop them so that we can like remain? Because like what y'all was saying about Stanford, it is a beautiful thing being able to just be you without that like heavy expectation,
without the target.
And we were doing that at 6, so maybe make the block a little less hot and drop us a little more. Like we could have did 120 honestly. So 12. They might be 12 right now.
Not 12. That's
crazy.
Like
I'm my stomach is in knots at the thought of it.
Well, it should be some combination, right, of Iowa, UCLA, and South Carolina, right? I think South Carolina has the most impressive wins, but UCLA was ranked above them to start, and they haven't lost yet. I think they're playing right now, or just wrapped up also. But they played like a school.
I think they. I don't think they played.
Well, I need them to win, because if they lose,
no, they won. They won.
I'm for real.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they won. They played Bellarmine.
Yeah.
Oh,
they put up 113 too. Hey, all right. Hey, I see y'all.
Yeah.
UC Riverside and then Bellarmine.
Yeah, that's I don't.
Oh man,
that does nothing for me. So they can.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. But again, like none of these programs, particularly South Carolina, UCLA, hell, even Iowa. Maybe actually, I take Iowa out. They seem like they would be playing for a number 1 ranking because they like need that. Because they still lose kids that are Iowa.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
But
they have to build off this. Like they
but all the other programs and schools have like, different goals, they've been number 1 before. I mean, Iowa has too, but like eons ago. But yeah, they have, they're playing for, it's just different. They're playing for April and March and April.
Yeah.
And not to say that Iowa isn't, but they
need everything before April.
It's like I think like to your point, it's almost like South Carolina is like, okay, these are the steps on the way, whereas Iowa's like, hey, this is this and then this and then this, and they're like, I know what you're saying. Like I think it's a little bit different. Like,
this is the year that is setting us up for next year. And I said this with that team in what year did we win? The year before that, I saw some stuff and I was like, the year after Ty and Kiki left, when it was just the freshies, and I was like, all right, they're going to have to get themselves together. Like, this is the year that sets us up for next year. And then we won a title that next year. So I think this is the year that sets us up for next year. If we just so happen to win a championship and that sets us up for back-to-back next year, hey, I'll take that. But I'm just saying, like, this is the year where they lay the groundwork and really build those habits to become something great next year.
Yeah.
And to y'all's point, it was another one of those games where we got multiple people having multiple assists, not just double-digit scoring, but the assist numbers. Like, everybody has been on there. They've been in the gym. They've just been playing catch, and it's a wonderful thing.
Raven and Pow both had 8 assists today. So that's another game.
Which is crazy that Pow is able to exist within Dawn's system, because Dawn don't be doing anything with her guards.
Yeah. But there's no pick and rolls.
Because please, and this is like semi-shade. Don't tell me that Kelly Graves is the pinnacle of guard success and coaching and X's and
Semi-shade. That's a shade.
Because what has Oregon won? They are still hanging their hats on a hypothetical championship. That is the pinnacle of their franchise. So you telling me like, oh, well, Pow wasn't doing this, that, the third. Rashard did his Googles and he did his work. And it has been a lot of transfers. 16, I think, is the count. We keep finding new ones every day. But there's been a lot of transfers out of that program. So to come in and say, like, oh, I don't know if Dawn can use her correctly. Like, bro, come on. You know? He does his thing.
I agree.
Please, let's be for real here.
Like, I just at this point, there's nothing to tell me that there's a type of player out there that Dawn can't figure out how to use. Like,
Thank you.
Like, she's arguably the best. Oh no, where Boss Lady go? Not when it was
He
time.
parked her yacht illegally.
Not when it was time. Well, while we see if she's coming back, you had boots on the ground, and we got to talk to a friend of the committee, Renee Alexander from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So we uploaded the full interview on YouTube, but here is a little bit of clip, and we'll discuss what she said after.
Okay, so first, this game is something that I know Gamecock fans look forward to when Maryland comes to town because it's been a battle. Right. We see a good matchup. We see some premier players. What does this matchup come to mean to you?
I think it means a lot to me, especially coming from being a transfer from the SEC, so already have experience against playing in South Carolina and playing in this arena. I think it's always a good atmosphere to play, and I think it's always a good challenge for us. And so, I was just really looking forward to it.
And then, like you said, you're obviously built for both. But what is the difference between SEC play and Big Ten play? And then how is playing, against the SEC team this early help y'all going forward?
Yeah, I think it definitely sets that tone for how we want to play, like Maryland basketball. We want to play fast. We want to play like that in the Big Ten. The differences are, I think guard play in the SEC is much tougher. We have, shooting the gaps in the lane, being aggressive, ball pressure. I think that's the biggest difference, guard play. And also like bigs. SEC usually has bigger people. So I think the difference, is just like speed of play, really.
That was Maryland's Brene Alexander. Way to go. Boots on the ground, Shawnee. We love to see it. Friend of the committee. We love Brene.
We do.
And I was interested. My favorite part about that. Make sure to go check out the full interview. Like I said, we got a couple more questions on there on our YouTube. So make sure you go subscribe to the channel so you're not missing anything, because you never know when the exclusive content gonna pop up. But I did love the fact that you asked her the question about Big Ten versus SEC, and she was like, "Yeah, the guards are better, and the bigs are better." So I was like, I know she doesn't want to say it. I completely understand, but I think we understand what she was getting at with with that one, which I thought was pretty funny.
SEC is just a physical conference, and it's the Big Ten. Like I said, like with Indiana and stuff, like they're very good as playing at playing as a unit, where each piece works in harmony with the other piece. But it's like sometimes it's not particularly athletic. It's not particularly the most skilled, from what I've seen sometimes. So, they do their thing. So it's cool to see, each conference has their identity and how it plays out. But, I don't think it's any problem saying, the SEC is one of them very physical conferences.
Yeah, I don't think you very often hear teams in comparison to how often you hear teams talking about playing SEC teams to prepare for March and the defense that comes along with postseason basketball. You don't really hear that as much talking about other conferences. Like, you don't hear people going to play Big Ten teams to learn how to play Big Ten style. You know what I mean? Because
it just means more.
It does. It means more, and I can't wait to arrive. I can't wait to be there. It's going to be such a fun time. I can't wait to, it just means more. So
you mean we committee?
No. We as in OU. Yes, as in OU.
OUI? OIU. Are we still talking? No. What are we talking about?
No.
We're talking about the Sooners joining.
The team that has one SEC win already this season.
He doesn't believe, I think, is what she's getting at.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. Hey.
No, that's kind of shady though. Y'all already got one SEC win. Because there's some teams that cannot relate. It's some teams that cannot relate to the Oklahoma Sooners.
And I'm clipping that. I'm using that one forever. I'm clipping that one. I like that.
I mean, it's going to expire in 4 days. And then we'll be right back here asking you what happened. But,
No. But once again, shout out to Brene. Make sure you go check out that full interview. Shawnee, did you have anything else from the arena or from your experience today at the game before we move on?
I get a free biscuit tomorrow. No, we get free Hardee's.
Damn right. Wait, wasn't it chicken nuggets?
We got a 3-piece chicken tenders at Hardee's with any purchase tomorrow. The code is 3611. So if you're going to Hardee's tomorrow and you don't have the app, it's 3611. Get you a free 3-piece chicken tenders with purchase.
Not a sponsor.
Not a
Not a
sponsor.
sponsor.
Hardee's.
Just good
But
Samaritan.
Hardee's.
Hardee's, come through. We ready.
Holla at us.
Listen, I'll
Hardee's
tell you
is
right-
Carl's Jr., right? That's the same, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
something like that.
I think it is. It's like just a reason.
And like I don't know what the difference is and why they split up, but
Yeah.
it's in the same vein.
But if you're listening,
Yeah.
Arby's, if you're listening,
Listen, that's
because we've been
Bojangles?
down
from day one. Arby's has been
Bojangles
from
is
day
hold on, because
one.
Bojangles is a little tapped out right now.
I mean, I know they're heavy in NIL. I know, but
Yeah, Bojangles. We need Bojangles to focus on the main thing. So Arby's, if you're listening,
Keep the main thing, Bojangles. But Arby's, we've been since day one on Playback. We've been talking about the Arby's sponsorship.
that burger was good. I'm not gonna hold you.
Hey man, don't sleep. Don't sleep. You know who did sleep today?
Uh-oh.
The UConn Huskies.
Woo!
I think it's safe to say that today there was more dog in the Wolves than in the Huskies. A really big upset today. Greer, I'm just gonna let you have the floor to begin with, as our residential UConn Husky fan.
Let me use my mic. I don't want anything to get over here.
I'm just gonna let you have the floor. You take it.
Paige and the Pagettes, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. She's coming back from injury. She just shouldn't have to do all of this when you have people who have been All-Americans, people who have been National Player of the Year in high school, highly ranked recruiting classes. It just shouldn't take a Herculean effort from Paige on the road in her second game back from like a devastating season-ending injury. It shouldn't just be this way. And Aaliyah had 21 points, but those were empty points. They just were. She missed a bunch of bunnies early, had some foul trouble. She did not play like All-American Aaliyah Edwards. I know what the numbers say, but numbers lie. I know, and I mean, listen, like if I have one bone to pick, and if it's with anybody, well, two actually. Caroline Ducharme, sister, you got a rebound. You're 6'2". You cannot leave the floor without having no rebounds. Like that is not going to get it done. We gave up 92 points to NC State, who was unranked, and they hadn't beat us since before you were born, Tyrese.
Yeah, and it was like before I was a thought, not even just before I was born.
Yes.
It was.
You were just in your mom's ovaries, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
True. Biologically speaking. And then I just like AZ, reluctant. They talked all week about how Gino had been calling AZ a reluctant superstar. And last year when we played them, she played really well. I think she had over 30 points. Today she hit her first shot, which was a 3, which was the first shot of the game, and really did nothing else after that. I would love to see, like, it's a shame that a player like you, we have to pry aggressiveness out of. It is an absolute shame. What does AZ look like when she has like 4 offensive fouls in a game? The fact that I think I can still count on one hand in her entire UConn career how many offensive fouls she has on one hand and have fingers left over is disgusting for a player of her talent. It's disgusting.
That's Steph Curry leadership right there.
I can count on Steph to push off, though, right? Like I can count on
him to lead.
We don't want to talk about men.
Not you getting your slander off. Come on now, man.
We don't want to talk about men. But yeah, the fact that I have fingers left over when I talk about her being aggressive on offense and drawing offensive fouls, that's unacceptable. And reluctant superstar is probably too generous of a label for her at this stage now. It just is. You contribute when you can. She didn't have a great game the last game.
Will you stop with the men?
Ew. Sorry, but it felt.
No, but I think that's a valid critique. Like skill wise and like the bag that AZ has, like there's no reason that she shouldn't be going out there and hooping. Like people shouldn't really be like. It feels like she's stopping herself way more than anybody is ever stopping her. Is kind of the vibes that I get from the way that she plays, and that's so unfortunate because her bag is so she is so good. She's incredible.
On the floor.
Yes,
can get her own shot. But yeah, Dolores posted a thing in the chat, and it was a dog barking in the mirror, but being scared of itself, of its own reflection. And I just, there's not a more accurate meme right now.
That's
That's
cold. I have a question. What was everyone doing during the off season, bros? Because UConn had figured it out. They was clicking on all cylinders. Gino was doing his throwback coaching, and everybody seemed to kind of understand what they did well, how they fit into his system, and what they needed to do. They were gritty. They were working. And then Paige comes back, and it's just like, all right, we're going to turn our brains off and just let her do what she want to do. And that's how she got hurt in the first place, because remember, she was in late up double digits, and he was like, I don't like how we look when she's not on the floor.
Yeah, there was no trust without her on the court. Yeah.
This is how we get there.
Yeah, after 2 games into our season, the only players we can trust right now are Paige and Cadence Samuels, the freshman.
Which is crazy.
You
know?
We gave
the
up
amount of talent, that's crazy.
92 points. Mimi Collins fucking balled on our asses, okay? Balled. I don't know if you're doing damn blocks this season, but she had 2 of them. She had 2 of them.
I've been on the lookout.
She sent Paige's shit flying on one of them. And yeah, I mean, Mimi Collins ate us up.
Hey, Sanaya Rivers ate y'all up.
My
33 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks, getting it done on both sides. Grid, this is your child.
My firstborn, my legit child. You know what I'm saying? Like, from this household. It's remarkable to see. I couldn't be happier. And she did that on ABC. Like, did it on ABC. Fresh retwist. She played incredible. And I think she had this game circled. It's very apparent. You know what I mean? And
she said that post game though, like, I wanted this to be my breakout game, and my teammates followed me on that.
It absolutely should. Like, you should have, like, if for an NC State team that unranked coming into the season, really no expectations to do really anything like of real significance going into this year. Any game that is against an opponent like this on a stage like this, both as an individual and as a team, should absolutely be circled. Make it personal. Because everyone, like, from a team perspective and like a bulletin board material perspective, nobody believes in you. It's like the Michael Irvin thing. Like, what are you going to do about it? And Sanaya went in and did something about it.
No, for real. I mean, UConn has talked all off season long about the kind of defense that we can play now that we have guards like KK. I don't even want to single her out. Sorry. Let me start with the upperclassmen. Nika, AZ, Aubrey, and then let's say KK. They put up 92 points on your head today.
Yeah.
Sanaya had a game that nobody has had against UConn in like 30 years. Something like insane.
It was
like
it was something like
like nobody took it. Nobody took the challenge amongst, like, we went to a zone at one point. Like, that's
like
gross.
Jokes aside, like, there was no dog. Like,
nobody took it on themselves to be like,
I ain't letting that happen. Like, there was nobody took that upon themselves to challenge themselves to go and do that for the good of the team. And
that's, like, honestly, like, not the UConn.
Like, even if you're getting cooked, but God, like, damn, somebody
do something.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna foul out, but, like, I'm gonna make you think.
I'm gonna get mine. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all's that UConn mentality, man. Gino got to figure out how to put that in all the kids.
81 usually gets it done for UConn.
Well, we didn't shoot well. We didn't shoot well at all. But 92 is never going to get it done.
No,
on the flip
absolutely
side.
not.
Yeah, giving up 92 is not it. I will say, like, I'm very happy for Sanaya that she was able to find a situation that works best for her. Because, I had my doubts about her coach. I'd be having questions on what he be doing sometimes, but, like, it seems to be working at least right now. And everybody got behind her on that, because for her to say, like, my teammates knew what my goal was and they helped me make it happen, and the goal was for me to go off on them.
I love that was the goal, and everyone was like, pop off. Like,
go off. We got you. So I like that. To me is very encouraging in terms of what Westmore is trying to do moving forward. Because if you can establish who's the top dog and everybody seems, because like
Sanaya must have been cooking in off season and everything.
Yeah.
For everyone just to be like, yeah, you're the one. Like you're the one that's gonna go pop off. She must have been doing some damage in practice.
Yeah, because they all look genuinely excited after the game for the game that she had. So it's like I don't think she was, I never thought she was making that up, but like you could tell, like, yeah, everybody's on board with this. So I'm happy she's found a place, that she can grow, because playing for South Carolina does take some sacrifice. There is an ultimate goal. You can get yours. You can, go where you want to go. But, you're not going to be able to do something like this that you did at NC State. So just find the place for
all
you.
teams take sacrifice, honestly, right?
Yeah.
Even South Carolina, we talked about how well balanced they were, but somebody is sacrificing on that team.
Yeah.
I think it's just ultimately she's back in her home state. Like it's just, I don't even think it. People transfer nowadays. People are coming out of COVID, making decisions that they thought were best for them at the time, but like all of those factors, I think, impact. She was a top, if I'm not mistaken, she was like a top 3 or 5 player in her class too, right? She's the same class as Raven, right?
I got distracted by the comments. I'm so sorry. I'm letting you finish.
Yeah, but I think she's in the same class as Raven. So AZ, Raven, Sanaya, like they're all the same age.
Yeah.
I want to say they all split the awards, like the best high school player in the country that year, their senior year. They all they split the various awards. So just another player. If you're maintaining big boards for next year's draft, like she's got to be incredibly high up on it. She fucking hooped and relished and took advantage of a great moment on national television.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've seen someone just like take advantage of the moment like this in a minute. Like when it comes to just someone that
Frida, Jalen,
like
them.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's valid. She was the number 2 prospect in the 2021 class. So yeah, she was up there. So it's not like the talent was never the question. It was kind of just like she kind of went to NC State and everyone was like, oh, okay, there she goes. Like that's what it kind of felt like, and kind of just people like out of sight, out of mind.
Westmore is all I can say. He's listening.
Yeah, that's
his harshest critics.
Not his harshest. So Shawnee, it's like it's just. I know Westmore got Shawnee tweet notifications on.
Right. Text the tweet too, the real version, the OG version.
On his flip phone, on his jitterbug. No, I was looking. Davidson is up 2 over UNC with 5 minutes left in the 4th. And
Davidson had a quality win earlier this week too, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me see. Yeah, because they're 2-0. They beat Wake.
Yes, that's what it was.
Bad. That's
I reverse around in the chat. I mean, we're talking about Davidson is an A10 school, right? Like, mid-major Hive, stand up.
I'm kind of blown though, because my Hampton Pirates play UNC, and I was gonna get on air and say I know I was shaky in the chat, but I was gonna say like, with all these upsets going on, why not us? And then Davidson, like,
not someone beating you to the punch. What
that's what I'm saying. Like, dang, for us,
Hampton Pirates. Let's just double down on that then.
I said let's do it then. Let's make it hurt.
Back to back.
What's the 15th? Wednesday. They play UNC Wednesday. UNC is obviously going to come out and want to avenge whatever happens in this game, because win or lose, you don't want to be that close to a team that you're expected
should be.
Manner. So we're going to get UNC's best, but David 6, I trust him. He's battle tested. He ready for this. We gonna hold our own. But they beat us like y'all could have like relaxed.
Or is it in Hampton?
It's in Chapel Hill.
Gotcha.
All right, we're gonna be on the lookout now.
Is this game in Chapel Hill? Yeah, this game in Chapel Hill too.
Yeah, because Colorado and Oklahoma State are also close right now.
If Davidson beat them, they never play in the Dean Dome again.
Not the
in the volleyball gym from here on out.
And I feel for him because like Deja always be on Twitter like, why aren't we getting shoes? Why didn't y'all light it up after we won? And I'm like, yeah, because that team last year, that men's team was ungood. So I mean, support winners, man.
Ungood is hilarious, but all right. Well, we can go tap in to that game. Do you have any parting words
Parting thoughts
for UConn?
Yeah, I mean, our defense in listen, like all championship
The exhale.
Man,
she's
I'm
still
just gonna
tight.
be living this for the well. We play Maryland on Thursday, so I'll
Yeah.
be living this
You
until
can bounce
Thursday
back.
morning at least. Well, shit. I mean, listen, Maryland beat us last year, so like it's not a given.
It's not a given by any means.
You know, but and they're coming off an L, so they want to win their next game. You know, but
y'all looking to cook food a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, and Maryland is a capable offensive team, more than capable. They've got a lot of experience, a lot of weapons, and they can shoot the three. And if we are just consistently relying on threes, not rebounding, not playing defense, not guarding or containing our man when we are in man, we're going to have a massive problem.
Boy, that board is full of stuff. Game notes. The whiteboard is no space.
I look like Kylie Day right now over here.
Well, we might be back on here after that game. That seems like a good one to come back for. But we appreciate everyone for coming through to another episode of the Committee Post Game. Like I said, go check out the full interview with Brene. There was a couple more questions at the end of that one. And make sure you're subscribed and you got the notifications on so you don't ever miss any exclusive committee content, whether it's live interviews. You never know what we put up. Arby's, wink, wink. Let us know. DMs are open
later on this week too.
Yep. We'll be back on Spaces Tuesday, and so be on the lookout. We'll see y'all around, and appreciate y'all for coming through.
Go Pirates.